Welcome back. Tonight, your objective is to explain the survival techniques of early humans. So your study guide is going to go through that. We're going to break down that objective so you know exactly what you need to walk away with, and that's what we will be discussing in class when you get to class tomorrow. Okay, you can see our objective on the screen, excuse me. And it says to explain survival techniques of early humans. We need to break this down a little bit. It's easy to just read it and move on, but I want you to know exactly what you're expected to know when you come to class tomorrow, because I will be asking these questions and checking for understanding. When I ask you guys to explain something, I'm asking you to do something. That's the skill or the verb. I'm asking you to give details, to describe it, to let me know about the topic. The underlined part up here, survival techniques of early humans, is called the concept. That is exactly what you will need to give me details about. So at the end of class, I will be asking you some of these techniques that the people used to survive during the Stone Ages. So get out your study guide now. It should be part 2. And we will be filling in those blanks and getting your notes ready so you can study them for the test. Number 5. Migration occurred among early humans because climate patterns around the world changed. That was called the Ice Ages. And that's when people began to migrate in search of new food sources, and they also followed the herds of animals around. So if people were living in this area and it was freezing, they didn't have heaters or anything like that, so they would have to move to warmer climates. We've been talking about this a little bit in our small groups. They also migrated while following the food sources. If the animals were migrating, then they followed them so they could hunt them. Or if they hunted all of the animals in one area, they would move to find more animals to hunt. Part 2 of this is that geographic features, and when we say geographic features, we're talking about things like high mountains or rivers or lakes or different things. That's part of our geography. But these geographic features affected the people migrating. Things like cold climates and high mountains delayed migration into North Asia. It was hard to travel in such cold areas. So you'll notice that there's not many people migrating to this area. They're trying to get to warmer places. Also high mountains. There's a huge mountain range in here and right here on the edge of India and China. And so it was very difficult to migrate that area. Number 6. Most scholars think that people must have crossed a land bridge called Beringia from Asia to North America during the Ice Ages, while ocean levels were really low. So it's really cold. The ocean levels are low. So this little patch of space here, which would be ocean now, kind of froze over, and people were able to just walk right across from this is Asia into North America, right there where you see Alaska. We call this area now the Bering Strait. I think you've talked about land bridges before when you studied Native Americans. Number 7. Early humans had to adapt by changing their diet, building sturdier shelters, log cabins, pit houses, tents, and using animal furs to make warm clothing. You've studied this before too when you did Native Americans. This is just how people adapt to survive. This is some of those techniques. They moved away from colder climates. They built sturdier houses, and they took animal clothes to make them warmer. So these are all survival techniques. Think about your objective. Number 8. The Paleolithic people often used flint, which is a stone, and they would use it because it could be easily shaped and sharpened. They tied wooden poles to the flint to make hand axes or hunting spears. Over time, they learned to craft smaller and sharper tools, such as fish hooks and needles. These smaller tools would have been invented after they discovered fire. This would be more like what they were doing before they discovered fire. So this is another technique they used to help them survive. Tools. They would use them to hunt, to protect themselves, and to make things. Remember that your objective was to explain survival techniques of early humans, so you will be expected to do that when you come to class tomorrow. Good night. Oh, one more thing. We are going to have a password. Each night I will give you a password, and I will ask that password when you come to class tomorrow. The password tonight is Jelly Bean.